into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame is our third winner and second player from Channel 7's 2006 Celebrity Survivor to be inducted, Guy Leech. Now, Guy, of course, went into his time on Survivor as one of Australia's greatest ever surf lifesaving champions, showcased his strong physical ability across the season, a fact to this day that sees him as owning the Australian Survivor record for highest ever individual challenge win percentage, which sits at 57.14%. Guy also holds the unique distinction of being the only winner in the history of Australian Survivor to have been voted out in the season he won, a fact that he was able to overcome and work his way back into the final two, where he walked away as a winner after defeating actor Justin Melvey in a vote 3-2. Now, Guy secured a large percentage of the fan vote in this year's Hall of Fame voting period, showcasing that even 14 years later, his win is still very highly regarded by the Australian Survivor fan community. With all that in mind, it's a great pleasure right now to welcome today Mr. Guy Leech to formally accept his induction into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame and talk a little bit more about his time and legacy for Australian Survivor. Guy, first of all, congratulations on being inducted into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame.
Well, that's awesome. It's something that I wouldn't have never expected, and like 14 years later, it just brings back all the memories of doing Survivor. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well, what does it mean, as you're saying, 14 years later, to receive this recognition and be inducted into the very first Australian Survivor Hall of Fame?
Oh, like I'm sort of slightly shocked, but also very proud. The Survivor that I was in was a strange one. That if you're a Survivor fan, you'd know that it was all celebrities and people known to the general public. And for me, over the years, I was asked to do a lot of celebrity events, the singing and the cooking and the Big Brothers and all the different shows that have been out there. And I've knocked them all back because there was no interest. But, I've always watched Survivor. I've always watched the American version, loved it. And when the opportunity came up to have a go and get in there and feel the whole thing out and what it was like, mate, I was straight on board. I signed the contract straight away and was ready to go. Yeah.
You went through a lot out there in Vanuatu in a fairly short amount of time, particularly, of course, compared to how long modern Australian Survivor seasons go. But to you, Guy, what was the most challenging aspect of playing Survivor?
Look, I did know the game. I felt that I had a good handle of understanding strategies and tactics. Look, you do suffer with just the lack of food that you get, and never having been someone that has gone on diets. You don't do that when you're training 5 hours a day, being an Ironman. Look, I was up for it and ready, but the fact that you're just not eating for days at a time, other than a bit of coconut and water, mate, was tough. I found that I kept my head in the fact that I was competing, so that isolation wasn't an issue. But I think that, when you start thinking about Survivor and, being involved in it, it's hard to switch off, and to try to turn your brain off of making choices and what you need to do and thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead. If you can't shut that down at times, you go crazy. And we all have sat on the lounge at home watching the show where someone makes a decision, you think, don't do that. Don't make that decision. That's crazy. But you got to understand when you're in it and you're there, the mind plays funny games on you. So I think that's probably the hardest part, just trying to relax through the whole thing and knowing it's a competition, trying to get through, but still trying to keep yourself in the spotlight as far as, making good decisions when sometimes, it's only you really making the decision on what you should do.
You also had that, of course, unique distinction of being voted out, then coming back into the game, to which, of course, you would go on to win. When you made your way back into the game, Guy, did you think that you could still win the game?
Look, the only reason that a couple of things on that, I basically knew that my time was going to be up or close to it when the merge came. I was strong, as you said, I was strong in the challenges, had that physical advantage against a lot of the other competitors. And, for my side, that was a real strong point. Now, I never tried to talk up or, go on about that part of it, because I knew that I was going to be a threat once the merge came. And so I was very aware that they'd want to get rid of me, the weaker players in that physical sense. And the other problem was that in our season, there were no idols. And I was very aware that I would need an idol at least to have something up my sleeve when the merge came to get through. Now, I didn't have that. They didn't do that. And so I was left exposed because of that. When I got back in, when the opportunity came up, which we had no idea. Once I'd made the jury, I was there at the resort, and then under the door came a note saying, tomorrow, if you want to get back into the game, there's an opportunity to compete for 2 spots. Now, at that stage, there were 3 people left. The producers and the like thought that if we let 2 back in against 3, it's going to be good television, but they'll get eaten up based on the numbers. So we were like really thrown in as being, lambs to the slaughter, and it would make for good television, to be fair. Justin Melby and I got through the challenge and got back in. And I remember saying to Justin right at the start, I said, mate, we have to do something quick. We've got to do something that's going to really disrupt the other 3. They're tight, they're solid, and they're going to really dislike the fact that we've been out on the resort for a few days eating it up and not suffering and coming back into the game. So they're going to be adamant that they want to get rid of us. So we've got to come up with something good. And we came up with a strategy. Mate, literally had up to 10 minutes before we had to go to Tribal Council to go and execute this, because at the time David Oldfield was very mindful of the fact of keeping the 2 girls that were in his alliance, mate, in eyesight, so that we couldn't get to them. But mate, we played the strategy that David was going to flip on the 2 girls because he wanted to go up against the 2 boys and have a crack at seeing who was the best against the men. And mate, they bought it. The girls bought it, and that was the demise of David Oldfield, and that was 2 versus 2. And I was back in a chance of winning. So, yeah, I literally went out going, you know what, I went out in some ways in a whimper. I didn't really get to make a big move to survive. Mate, I tried to, but they wouldn't hear about it. And I thought, if you're going to give me another go, then, look out, because I'm going to go down swinging this time, and I don't care. And that's sort of what happened, and I got up because of it, which was good.
You've achieved so much in your career, Guy, but where does winning Survivor rank amongst all your achievements?
I took the Survivor Challenge on like I did an Ironman race. So leading into it, the preparation for it was not unlike what I would do when I was trying to compete in a 4-hour, Ironman event that I wanted to win. I did my research. I even found a guy in Brisbane that had lived in the jungle in Vanuatu with the locals.
Wow.
But I flew him to Sydney to pick his brain for days on what you could eat, what you couldn't eat, where you'd find things, that time of the year, So I went in with as much information as I could, because as I said before, I knew that physical presence that I had was going to be a problem for me when we got to the merge. So I wanted to have as much information up my sleeve that I could be worthwhile in other aspects of finding food and doing those sort of things outside of just winning the challenges. So I prepared as best I could. And so when I won, the feeling was the same as winning a massive Ironman race, which was awesome because, I was a long time retired from the Ironman sport when I did Survivor. And to go and compete, for a month and have a crack where you're just on every day and then end up being the last one still around, mate, yeah, the feeling was fantastic. So, I look, because I love Survivor so much, I put it up there with the Ironman wins for sure.
It is, of course, 2020 now, Guy. A lot happening in the world right now, and a lot happening, of course, in your life, as it has since 2006. I mean, give us a brief rundown, though, on what's life for Guy Leech now in 2020. Yeah,
so, I was heavily involved in the health and fitness side of things off the back of my career, which made sense because, Ironman was a very fit sport that you had to keep at the top level with. I sort of did that for a long time, and nearly 5 years ago, a fitness group that I've been running down around Manly and the Northern Beaches for close on 20 years now, 5 years ago, one of my best mates in that group suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. And I had to try to save his life by doing resuscitation on him. He didn't make it. And I found out after the fact that if I had a defibrillator, which is a machine that shocks the heart and gets it restarted, that he could have survived. So that was a real turning point for me. The fact that I lost one of my best mates, couldn't get him back to life, really took a lot out of me. And so off the back of that, I've literally gone on a campaign to get people to understand just how important defibrillators are. The sudden cardiac arrest, which is what he suffered, is the biggest killer in Australia. Today, here in Australia, nearly 100 people die from an electrical issue with their heart, and that includes a kid under the age of 10 today that will die. And a defibrillator can save their life, up to 70% chance of saving them if you get the device on the patient in the first 180 seconds. So, mate, that's my life now. I literally, have spent the last nearly 5 years campaigning for more of them to be out there, and I distribute them right around the country myself now, and I'm just trying to make something out of my mate's life that was lost and do something good for it. So, I'm in a good place as far as that goes. I do what I love to do. It makes me feel good. And, the business that I've got, Heart 180, saves a life every 7 to 8 weeks. So one of our devices that we send out, the defibs, we find out that it's been used on someone and brought someone back to life again. So it's very rewarding, yeah.
And where can people find more information about that, Guy, if people want to help out and get involved?
Sure. So the website is heart, the word heart, and then the number 180.com.au. So if they go there, they'll understand what it's all about, and they can contact us directly through the website. So yeah, if you have any need or want any knowledge on defibrillators and cardiac arrest, mate, I'm more than happy to follow it up.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to see, Guy, that you're still doing so much great out there in the community, and we've been honoured to chat with you today to present this latest achievement to you. I've got one right here. I'm going to hold it to the camera. We're going to send this off to you. We've got your formal award here, which you can hang up alongside all your other achievements that you've got there, mate. But it's been a pleasure to chat with you and formally induct you into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say that I appreciate it. Thanks for all your effort and work that you put into Survivor and promoting the Australian Survivor side of the program. I've got a framed picture with myself winning Survivor.
Great.
And I've got the mask that we won, and a few other things that are framed up. So, mate, I will frame up the Hall of Fame certificate and put that next to it. So thank you very much.